Hey there guys, alright, today we are back with another geo-history video, this time the European conquest of America. So I'm assuming this is probably going to start in 1492, and then we're going to go through, I'm curious where this is going, where they're going to end the video. I wonder if they're going to end it in 1776, or if they're going to go all the way through to when European, they do go up to like 1800s, and then like they fast forward, and they go to, and then they like fast forward to past the latter end of the 1800s, and then through, like, they just skip over much of the early 1900s, and then just be like decolonization. That's what I'm kind of thinking might happen. I don't know. But before we dive into the video, make sure you go check out the links in my description box below or in my pinned comment in the comment section. I have a link there to my Twitch channel. Would love it if you threw me a follow. I go live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays from 6 p.m. to about 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time. And then there is also a link to my gaming channel here on YouTube, where I am just uploading old streams up here that are no longer like available on my Twitch channel, because for some reason I can't keep my VODs over on Twitch up all the time. They disappear after 2 weeks or something. Anyways, get into the European conquest of America.
In the middle of the 15th century, these were roughly the territories known to Europe. Despite the discovery 500 years earlier of a tip of North America by a Viking tribe, the continent and the tens of millions of souls that populate it are still unknown to European powers.
I wonder why, like, that information never got widespread about, you know, that land being there. Like, usually that information gets spread very fast. Granted, it was still, I think, yeah, that was still they weren't Christian yet, the one, Leif Erikson. I don't think he was Christian. So maybe the whole paganism has a part to play in it. But I've never really heard, I can't think of anything I've heard that explains why Europe didn't hear no one else outside of, really, I guess, Leif's or the crew, that, like, no one really, it didn't spread. If anyone has heard why that information did not spread really at all, and then literally once the colony dies, pretty much all information of it died with it. If anyone knows, please do tell me down below. I love this intro music they got going.
For centuries,
oh, they're gonna talk about the roots of colonization, or what spurred the Europeans to colonize. I love it.
Europe is mainly oriented towards Asia, from where silk, spices, and other goods originate. Trade routes from China and East Indies are lucrative for those who control them. By weaving a maritime network across the Mediterranean Sea, the powerful republics of Venice and Genoa dominate trade in Europe. But the monarchies of the Iberian Peninsula aim to break this monopoly and set off in search of new routes.
Okay, they're brushing over that also the Ottomans also played a part in this. I think mainly it was the Ottomans that spurred this. It wasn't necessarily Venice and Genoa that spurred it, even though I'm sure there was some dislike towards the Italian maritime states here for their pretty much monopoly on the business, Mediterranean business. But I think with the fall of Constantinople, it spurred this desire to find a different way, to find a way to trade with India without going through the Ottoman or the Venetian.
More efficient ships are built, boosting exploration of the Atlantic Ocean. A native of the Republic of Genoa.
Oh man, I should have watched this video for Columbus Day. God, I really got to get better at being a
Columbus lived in Lisbon. The young navigator dreams of discovering a new road to Cathay and Cipango, found in present-day China and Japan. According to his calculations, the territories are close enough to attempt a crossing. He presents the project to the Portuguese king, who refuses to finance it as the country focuses on the exploration of a route via Africa.
And so, I think the reason, because it seems obviously with the context that we have today of where Portugal should have fucking sent Columbus, right? They should have funded his voyage. But I think the reason they probably denied it is because, not because, like, I mean, one, it is a pretty crazy plan to sail across where it's completely uncharted, whereas what the Portuguese are doing is they're just following the coast. They're just following the coast along. They're trying to see if this landmass here eventually leads them to here. Whereas, you know, you send someone this way, you have no fucking clue what's going to happen. For all you know, this could extend forever and ever, and before they even reach, like, let's say there wasn't even the North and South America on this hemisphere here in the ocean, and let's say it did lead directly, sailing across did lead to Asia. You don't know really how. I mean, there are obviously, I think they've had fairly decent calculations as to how big the world is for a while now, I believe, by this point in time. However, it's still gonna be a long trip, and with the current technology of the 1480s, I don't think I would risk funding a voyage like that if I had the money.
Columbus then tries his luck with Spanish Catholic kings. After some hesitation, they eventually agree to fund the expedition. Christopher Columbus sets off on his voyage in 1492 as the head of 3 ships and a crew of 90 men. After 70 days of sailing, the expedition discovers an island in the Bahamian archipelago.
70 days. And so, like, you know, food's running out by that time.
The first encounter with the natives is peaceful and cordial. Convinced he found the East Indies, Columbus calls them Indians. For 3 months, he hops from island to island in search of Cipango. Upon his return to Spain, he is welcomed as a hero. He sets sail again the following year, this time with 17 ships, to establish a permanent settlement on the island of Hispaniola. La Isabela is created in honor of the Queen of Castile, with Columbus as governor. He continues to explore surrounding areas. To avoid wars in newly discovered lands, the Spanish and Portuguese kings meet and come up with a plan to share the territories. A meridian is defined, with newly discovered lands to its west going to Spain and those in the east going to Portugal. Moreover, the Pope...
So theoretically, see, this is what's confusing a bit about the Treaty of Tordesillas here. Does that mean Spain is giving up Africa to Portugal? And then if they consider, like, you know, the world's round. They know the world is round by this time. So, like, if you keep going west, you're going to end up east. And if you keep going east, you're going to end up west. So, like, how are they determining the split of Asia once they get there, right? Like, this is where the Treaty of Tordesillas confuses me. It's like, I understand what they're going for, but, like, when you actually apply it, it don't make much sense.
Tasks Spanish kings with evangelizing the new territories. England also tries to reach Cathay, but from the north, leading it to discover new lands. For its part, Portugal, with Vasco da Gama, eventually succeeds in opening a new sea route to India. During the second expedition, Portuguese ships head westward to bypass strong sea currents, thereby discovering a new land located east of the meridian of Tordesillas. Colonies are quickly established there. In 15...
This is way more in depth on the early colonization of America than I thought it would be.
6, Christopher Columbus dies without knowing he had discovered a new continent. It is Amerigo Vespucci, another navigator who had traveled several times to the land, who first suggests that it's a new world. The continent is then named America.
Shining bright shimmer. that the lyrics?
After him. Around Hispaniola, explorers called the conquistadors set off to discover and conquer new land. Rapidly, the condition of the natives deteriorates. Lands are stolen, people are enslaved, and moreover, previously unknown diseases imported by Europeans spread through the continent and decimate populations.
Up to 90%.
In Cuba, conquistador Hernán Cortés hears of a city called Tenochtitlan, a supposed city of gold. Having reached land during his expedition in search of the city, Cortés realizes he is in the Aztec Empire, which rules over surrounding territories and peoples. He takes advantage of the situation to propose or impose by force that the locals become part of the Spanish Empire. His strategy pays off. Cortés is guided by locals to their capital, where they receive a warm welcome. Just south of the continent, Ferdinand Magellan, seeking to go around the world, discovers a strait that would bear his name and enters the Pacific Ocean. The following year, war breaks out in Tenochtitlan. The Spanish and their allies impose a siege of 75 days around the capital. Moreover, a smallpox epidemic eventually exhausts the Aztec people, who surrender. Cortés enters the city and becomes the governor of New Spain. Spanish colonies cultivate local products previously unknown in Europe, such as maize, potato, tobacco, and cacao. These products, as well as gold and silver obtained from conquests and from mines, are exported to Europe.
Oh, let's go silver inflation!
Settlements also take a religious turn with the arrival of the Franciscans, who wish to establish an even purer church than back home and baptize natives. Cortés now begins a
What could go wrong with religion?
conquest of the Mayan people. While further south, conquistador Francisco Pizarro hears of the supposedly rich Inca Empire. After several unsuccessful expeditions, he returns with an army in 1531. The Inca Empire is already weakened by smallpox, with the disease claiming the life of its emperor a few years earlier, sparking a succession war. During a meeting between Pizarro and the new emperor Atahualpa, the latter is captured and executed despite several tons of gold received for his release.
Wow. Spain, what the fuck?
French Protestants also tried to colonize the New World.
Hold on, that just registered to me. They said several tons of gold. Not just like a bunch of gold, several tons. So what the fuck?
But they failed because of existing Spanish and Portuguese forces and because of adverse climatic conditions and diseases. Eventually, more resources are allocated into colonization and New France is founded in order to develop trade in fishing and furs. The English and Dutch quickly follow suit and settle along the coast. The colonies would face off many times, following the patterns of war taking place in Europe. Generally, the French ally with local tribes, while the English fight alongside the Iroquois.
Alright, so we've moved into
In the mid-17th century, the
going up
slave
to the
trade blows
18th
up.
century now.
European ships go to Africa loaded with
How much time is left to? I think we're gonna end with 1776.
goods which are exchanged against slaves
Around there.
who are transported in harsh conditions to America, where they are exchanged against local products and gold. Slaves are then mainly used in plantations, while the ships returning to Europe sell American products at high prices. In 1763, New France lost the fourth and final intercolonial war. The colony then comes under control of the British, who cede a portion to Spanish territories in exchange for Florida. With war taking
Ooh, wait, no, we might be getting 1776 plus Haitian Revolution plus then the later revolutions of the late 19th.
taking a financial toll on the United Kingdom, colonies are made to pay through new taxes. In response, 13 colonies rebel and declare independence. Thus begins a new war between the United Kingdom and these colonies, who are supported by France, Spain, and the United Province of the Netherlands. In 1783, the British are forced to recognize the independence of the United States. While Russia begins to establish settlements in northwestern coastal territories, Spain finds itself weak.
Yeah, Russia, you got there eventually. Good job.
Because of a war against France. Its colonies begin to proclaim independence, and Spain is quickly forced to withdraw and recognize the new states. Texas declares independence from Mexico and asks to join the United States, creating tension between the two countries. A war breaks out and swings to the advantage of the United States, who also seize California and New Mexico. Oregon is then shared between the British colonies and the United States. In 1867, the United States buys Alaska from Russia. In the south, the Mapuche are the last natives to have resisted attempts at colonization.
Oh!
However,
I've never heard of them before. Neat!
However, Argentina and Chile launched the southern conquests in order
neat.
to have access to both oceans. With the Mapuche defeated, the entire continent is conquered.
Rip. Alright, you know what? I think that was perfectly paced for talking about European conquest, right? Because they focused on, I think the thing that I noticed most here and that I loved the most here was the focus more early on with the Spanish and Portuguese, and then less on, you know, the American Revolution and then the later revolutions of Latin America against Spain in the early 19th century. Because those things are talked about a lot. And I think, especially here in the United States, right? Of course, we talk about the American Revolution a lot, right? Because it's the formation of this nation. But then we also do talk about the revolutions of, you know, Latin America against Spain a good amount. So it was nice to get this, I guess, contrast here, where the focus was more on that early colonization, which it gets brushed over pretty much, or when it is discussed, it's more discussed of Jamestown, the Canadian colony, the East Coast American colony. Not the most you get talk about when it comes to Latin America is the Spanish invasion of the Aztecs. Really, and for that really is not much, where it's just like, yeah, Cortez landed and they, he made some friends with the other people that hated the Aztecs because the Aztecs were a bit dickish to the other powers in the region, and they dominated those other powers, and those other powers were kind of pissed at the Aztecs. So then Cortez comes in, and I guess he befriends them or something, and then they all work together and gang up on the Aztecs. That's about the most I've heard about it. So I like this focus here. This was a good video by GeoHistory. I hope you guys enjoyed too. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next video. Peace.